njisiyo yami, sabona njisiyo yami, mono njisiyo, sabona njisiyo yami.
Awimo tati moma, engobu ya tulega yena. Imo tati moma, engobu ya tulega yena. Imo tati moma, engobu ya tulega yena.
Sabona njisiyo yami, njisiyo yami, motati mono njisiyo yami, sabona njisiyo yami, mono njisiyo, sabona njisiyo yami.
Awimo tati moma, engobu ya tulega yena. Imo tati moma, engobu ya tulega yena.
Fishbowl family. Today we have a special guest as we continue moving forward down the, and around the bowl. I'm your host, Jay Fish, and my co-host over there.
Hey Jay, you already know what time it is.
Then we have our big special guest today. I'm gonna let him introduce himself. A man of few words, that's what I say he is. But let him introduce himself.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Calvin Thomas. I have many titles: husband, father, pastor, spiritual advisor, business owner, employee, just to name a few. But it's good to meet everyone out there, and just trying to finish living my life as best as I know how, as you young people say.
Welcome to the Fishbowl, man. We're glad to have you on the Fishbowl today. So today our topic is going to be the calm in the storm, finding internal strength and clarity in chaos. If you guys have any moments where y'all have to be very calm in a storm, somehow, me personally, I can thrive very much in chaos, unfortunately. But that's just who I am as a person. So the first thing I want to do, he introduced himself as Calvin. I know him as my pops. He's been around me for a long time. He watched me grow from how old was I? Fourth grade, fifth grade, one of them grades?
Something like that. I lost track.
Yeah. I was trying to count the other day. I almost went retarded. So I know we got our normal topics that we hit on, but I wanted to be a little different on this one. For this one, this is personal for me because, you and I, if I told a story, they'll think I'm lying. I just want to start off with some experiences that we had, and something I should have said to you many years ago that it took me a long time to kind of put it together. I guess for the most part, out of everybody that I had growing up in my younger life, it's only a couple people still around because most people get on my nerves, as I say so many times, so many times. But you had a chance to watch me grow up into a young man. Did you ever think, or did you ever think, or would you ever thought I would have been this person I am today? That's my first question.
Yes, I had a vision for the family of what you and your sister could become. And I didn't look at where you were at that point. I saw what you could become. And that's why I didn't listen to any of the outside noise. I don't know if you want to do that. I didn't hear any of that stuff because I saw the vision. And that's what kept me focused. And it paid off because now you where you are. Now, some people close to you or semi-close to you might be shocked and surprised, but I wasn't.
Okay. So, Mr. AJ, you over there? Any remarks?
No, I don't have none right now. I'm trying to think of one, but come back to me. I probably have one.
Absolutely. So Pause, man. I do want to say this, man. That one of our craziest moments, man. I swear I'll never forget. My legs still be walking by themselves. Remember that day we moved to Daytona and my mama lost them keys and we had to walk like 50 miles back just to get home and it started raining.
Yeah, I remember.
Man, at that day right there, I was like, this man don't know what he got into, but my mama crazy. She looking at the whole situation. I was like, bro, growing up, I'm like, bro, I don't even know what type of man to deal with my mama because my mama's a different type of crazy. She funny, but she crazy.
Let me educate you young men on something. If you're going to deal with, and maybe I don't want to sit there and stereotype my own people, but if you marry within our community, I'll say that it's not the crazy, it's different levels. What can you tolerate? That's the question that you got to ask yourself, because you're going to get one form or the other. But what can you tolerate?
What are the two different forms?
No, I didn't say two different forms. I said there are different forms, different levels. Like different levels that you play at, and they tell you there's different levels to this game, or expletive. I don't use that language, but y'all know what they say, different levels to, sugar, honey, and all that other stuff. I don't use that language, but yeah, it's different levels. So you're going to have different levels when you're dealing with women, okay? You're going to have to find that out. And I don't want to get too deep into this, but instead of looking at how fine they are and all that other stuff, you better look and analyze what they have to offer and how they are, and get past all that new car smell stuff. Because after 3 or 4 months, you're going to get the real them. You can only pretend and be nice for so long, but get to know the real them.
Man, my mom was crazy from the beginning. What you mean? She was crazy from the beginning.
Yeah, but she still didn't let her guard down until about 3 or 4 months within our relationship. And when we first started talking, your mother's the nicest person in the world.
Yeah, all right. Everybody be saying that.
I'm trying to tell you, when you're dating, everybody puts their best foot forward, including me.
It was funny because my mom ain't really get crazy until we moved it to DeLand, and she bust her head on the side of that thing, throwing that alcohol at us down the hallway.
Yeah,
it's just crazy.
Well, you caused that. You instigated that because you know how she is.
Man, we had some good times, man. I felt like growing up, no matter what we went through, I felt like we always had a chance. Like, I think, so man, I'm not gonna lie to you. Growing up was one of the hardest things for me because I was like, man, my grandma not gonna live forever. So like when I was a kid, I'm like, boy, my mama crazy. I'm gonna be stuck with her all my life because ain't nobody gonna come get her. Like, I'm like, I used to sit in church and be like, Lord, please let somebody come get this lady because I can't do it all my life. Then when you came along, it was kind of different because God give you what you ask for, but he give it to you in a funny way. And it was like, I'm sitting here, I'm like, our relationship at first was crazy because I'm like, bro, I don't even know who this man is. I always look after my mom and my sister because I always know what's best for them. And this man here, he won't go away. Like, bro, he kept like, bro, she got 2 kids. Why you still here? Just keep coming back. Relentless. It wouldn't stop. I'm like, bro, okay. So at some point, I was like, okay, look, let's just see. Let's sit back and give it a ride. But golly.
AJ, let me tell you something about your brother here. He tried to lock me out of the house when we were dating his mother down at the property. So I saw him trying to do that because I was like, I'm ahead of the game. I know what you're trying to do. So I guess he figured I'm gonna lock you out so you can go home. I just put my forearm in there and put like, you ain't gonna outstrength me. So he finally just gave up and said, all right, you can come.
Bro, it was a consistent battle because I was just like, man, I gotta see. Because like, man, me personally, like, I ain't gonna say my mama had the best track record with men. It's just some people that I sit back now. I'm like, bro, there's no way. Like, this is me personally. I would never date a woman that's like my mama. Boy, my mama is too crazy for me. But she also have a good heart. So it's like, bro, you got to take one with the other. So it's like it's 50-50 at times.
Right. And that's why I said that there's different levels to craziness in our community. You gonna get some form or the other. You just got to decide, are the pros better than the cons? And only you all can decide that. But you got to think with the head that's on your shoulders and not in
Gotcha.
the lower regions.
Mm.
Okay.
That's
So
gonna save you a lot of headache in the future. You
so
can think later.
I want to dive into this really quick.
Oh,
Um.
I had a question.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
For Mr. Calvin, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
And the question is pertaining to relationships. Um, what would be, if you could go back to when you was in your prime, give me some few words what would you give to yourself as an encouragement?
What I would do,
Mm-hmm.
this is easy because I grew up in the church. And
Mm-hmm.
they always told us, marry in the church. Do not be unequally yoked with sinners. You marry in the church, you love Jesus, she love Jesus, you're gonna have one big happy family.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a big lie. Um, because yeah, the other person may love Jesus, and it's not to downplay them or degrade them in any form,
Mm-hmm.
but you still got to do your homework and make
Mm-hmm.
sure your vision for each other match. Because that's
Mm-hmm.
what happened to me in my first marriage. Our
Mm-hmm.
vision didn't match, and
Mm-hmm.
we ended up having to go separate ways after we started a family. That was sad, but because I didn't know, it cost me a lot of money, a lot of anguish, and a lot of heartache. So I want to try to make sure I pass my knowledge on. And there's nothing wrong with what they're trying to say, but the Word of God always says, "My people perish for the lack of knowledge." So when you know better,
You
you
do
do,
better.
you pass it on. So people behind you don't make the same mistakes. So that's what I would tell my younger self.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
I try to tell my younger self, boy, this nigga here was here to stay, boy. What? The the switch gears here for a second, man. I wanted to this is one of the questions I always wanted to ask. Well, yeah, this is one of the questions I always wanted to ask. What was it like taking on the challenge of carrying a mother with two kids, along with watching her young kids grow up in the middle of chaos, and also having to will yourself to the person you are today?
Well, the key to all of that is the vision that I mentioned earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I've been going to this relationship without having a vision of what it's supposed to be. And I took the lessons that I learned prior with my previous marriage to not repeat them because I did not have a vision with that. So that's what got everything off track. You got to have a vision, no matter how chaotic things get. That's what's going to keep you through. And then you reinforce that because I had to sit there and uh, talk with your mother. It's like, look, this is the way that we're going to go if we're going to stay together. It
Gotcha.
was a come to Jesus moment. Okay, you don't have to. If you want to go a separate way, that's fine. But if you stay with me, this is the way that we're going to go, and as a family. So she fell in line with that. It wasn't okay. No, it was a fight, but I just like no. We're going to keep the way that I got the vision for this family. Okay, and it paid off. I'm not patting myself on the back, but because I knew what the vision was that God gave me for the family, and not fall back and make the same mistakes I made before, it paid off. Yeah, it got chaotic, and it looked. And if you listen to people outside, and that's the other thing I would tell you all is keep your relationship, what you have, but inside the four walls of your house. If you start telling people, asking people outside, uh, they're gonna give you something that's gonna get you off track because nobody has your best interest but God and the two of you that come together. That's it. Everybody else needs to stay outside that.
AJ, any words?
Yeah. When you say you had the vision, right? Like, can you explain that in details? Like, did you have the vision like after you went through the storm with your first marriage, or did this come? Did it come like piece by piece while you was in your next relationship?
Well, to answer that one, before I even got into the relationship, I consulted God. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
what is the vision? Then He took me to His Word and showed me how a godly man should act, how he should have be a priest in his home, how he should be a leader, lead by example, not by word, but by example.
Gotcha.
So that's what got me through. Now there was added stress on top of that because I ended up losing my job
Mm-hmm.
after I got into the marriage.
Jobs.
Yeah, yeah. Well, no. I only had one going into it. Now after we came together, then that's when it went. Then I had to go to jobs, but it was only one at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But the same thing happened in the previous one too. So I
Dang.
had to go through this test all over again. And I'm like, he said, I said, now, then God said, okay, now you're going through this test again because I'm going to see if you're going to do what you say you was going to do.
Mm-hmm.
To touch on that a little bit, man, like being like me being there, experiencing all that was kind of like eye opening for me personally, because I was like, bro, like it wasn't the fact that it was hard, but it was more the fact that like long as we stuck together, we was able to make any bad moment into a good moment. Like we did a lot of dumb stuff, like from remember that time we went to North Carolina and my mama threw that alcohol all over the car while we was driving coming through Atlanta. Man, it was just having that experience kind of like two things going through those experiences made me do. One of them was like, okay, like no matter how hard times get, like the storm gonna pass. It's not gonna be here forever. That's one thing I learned. Then watching you kind of will yourself, cause like being there you could have easily quit. Cause like boy, if we told the story, boy, they would not believe it.
Right.
Boy.
Exactly.
And just seeing you do those things, man, that made you different. It's I don't think a lot of people don't get pushed to that limit, and I think as a young individuals, we got pushed above and beyond, and like you said, it happened before, so that means the first time it happened, God said you failed because He wanted to redo it all over again. Which sometimes
Exactly.
I'm not a big fan of. I don't like going through lessons twice, so yeah, I'm gonna try to cut bait with anything if I gotta go through it twice because I don't want to do it twice. I just want to do it once and keep it pushing.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Right. I agree. That's the whole thing. Is when He speaks to you,
Mm-hmm.
that's the voice that you got to hear. It's gonna be small and still. It's not gonna be loud. Okay. Anything that's loud, then it's just that saying. The old people used to say when I was growing up, an empty wagon makes a lot of noise.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So that if it's loud and boisterous, then that should tell you something. But anything that's small and still and quiet, it only speaks once. You gotta listen.
I,
That's
hey,
deep.
I feel that it's. I think I don't think going through the process, man. We had a rough little couple patches, but I don't think none of our lives changed, even though it was rough. It was like we kind of always made an adjustment and kept it pushing.
Right.
Even when I had to take the city bus to another county because I didn't want to leave my school that I like personally.
Mm.
Yeah, man, AJ, man, I had to get a track phone, man, because I got my mama lost me one day. That's what really happened.
That was my first phone. Track
No,
phone.
I'm talking about the one with the stiff buttons. They had like 9 buttons in the front. You put the little minute card on there, and you only
Yeah,
could
I
call people
know
when you really
exactly what you're
need to.
talking about. Yeah. I have a question for Jay Fish. At what point did you come to realize that okay, now that my mama's happy, I can finally let go of the reins?
It took me a long time because not a long time, but it really took me like, believe it or not, it's like when I really went to Texas, I could like being able to be away and like and they life still function. Like yeah, they like it was. I don't really like when people need me, man. I hate that feeling. Cause like they always gonna call you. Like my mama do a lot of funny stuff, so I have to check behind her sometimes. But it's more like for me, I worry about her everyday life, and Pops was able to do that. Like he's him. Like he makes sure that everyday life is cool. Cause but my mama be tripping sometimes.
Mm.
And not saying that she wasn't a fit parent, because the truth of the matter is, but everything I've been through turned me into a person. Now, some people gonna say it's terrible, some people gonna say it's good. It turned me into a monster because I understand like what it can be and what the bottom look like. So
Yeah.
everybody be like, "Why you don't talk about your past?" It's like, bro, you want to talk about it neither. Like, bro, it's not me running. I'm aware of it, but also I understand like I can sit here and keep trying to read books and talk stories about it, or I can continue to build my life and go the direction I want to. So I don't gotta encounter none of that stuff, because
No.
although it built character, it is not something you really want to do.
No. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
And and back then people used to run in villages. Now, boy, you'd be outside real quick. Outside real quick. I'd
No.
rather bite a brick than ask one of my family members for something. But I'm talking about eat that thing. You know what? Eat a whole brick before I do that, boy. But but Pops, man, I just me personally, not this ain't nothing I got written down. I really just wanted to give your flowers in person, man. I really appreciate you for taking on the burden of my mother's situation, because I know you married her and you took on us. Well, I ain't gonna say a challenge, but boy, it was tough. It was tough, especially for me. Like now, I feel like I can go do anything without you being there. I don't know, could I like truly walk away from my mama and be like, it is what it is. Like, cause I always say like, I got to get my life together one day and set up for my family. I would never be able to do that without you existing, cause my mama would be on my nerve every day. She already called me every day. Now it'd be a lot worse if you weren't there. So I really appreciate that.
You're welcome. I
I
try.
really appreciate. I really appreciate that, but
I have a question. My question is, well, this for you, J Fish. Um, you know, at what point did you? Oh, at what point did you say you at peace with throughout your whole situation that you went through?
I wouldn't. I would say now. I would say most definitely now, because like I always told my mama and pops, like pops is my witness. Like I always say, I want to take care of my family. Like that's all what I ever wanted to do. Like if you ever hear me talk, I'm always say that. No matter how much I gain, no matter how much I have, like it's not really about getting all this. It's about having the ability to take care of my family. Like, yeah, my mama is who she is, but I love my mama. I love pops. I love my sisters. You know, I love my brothers. So if anything I can do to take care of them and they could be at peace, I'm willing to do that. And
Mm,
somehow my journey went from being sports to, if I knew I was gonna be this person long ago, I wouldn't have played sports, but I could have had all my parts and not being hurt, not being damaged, and being fine.
mm,
But I did go through that phase, and I did play, and I would say now, because like now I can't really say, oh, I can give my mom my bank account and walk away. I ain't gonna say that now. But as I continue to grow, one day that's the goal. Like one day is the goal, like to build them a house and get them everything they want, so they can shut it down for a while.
mm.
Let me interject something real quick. I want to share something with you young men. Here's a key moment that actually turned things around for us. It was a test. Um, you remember that bicycle job I had?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, well, here's the challenge for me to get to it. The story goes, I told your mother, like, okay, I need to catch you when you go to work in the morning. I need to ride with you so I can make this interview. And she's like, well, I can't take you. And I'm like, just get to the job and I'll take care of the rest from there. Well, she forgot. So she stayed down at the house instead of coming up on the hill. So I woke up, it's 4:30. I'm in the house. I forgot where I think you and your sister were at, your auntie's, great aunt's house or something. So I called, no answer, 3 times. So then the reality was, if I was going to make this interview, I was going to have to walk in the dark to get to that house and walk through the backwood part of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. It's dark right there.
I have a phobia about walking in the dark and walking in the woods, period, wild animals, snakes, and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But my thing was, I got to get to this interview. And I got to the point to say, well, if something happened to me before I get to that house, then I'm just going out like that because I'm not going to sit up here and not try. So I made it. I had the light on my phone on the ground, making sure I don't step on nothing. And I heard stuff walking. I'm like, well, if it's my time to go, it's just my time to go. But nothing ever happened. I saw the light to the hill, got that knock on the door, like, hey, like she was like, what you want? It's like, oh, you forgot that I'm supposed to be riding with you. Well, make a long story short, I got there, called her there, then I walked 4.5 miles to the west side of town to get that job interview. I got there, got the job. Now it wasn't much, but it opened the door to get to where I'm at now. Because the money that I had, I was able to use that to get on the interview for the agency I work for now. So that was a big moment. Because had I not gone there, I don't think I would ever be where I am at now. But I had to get through that phobia to get to where I am now. And you all probably don't even know anything about that, but that was a test for me to get past that. I kept thinking about the vision and what I wanted, where I'm at now. I saw that, and that's what gave me the bravery and the strength I needed to get to do that walk.
Well, won't God push you to limits that you ain't never been before? But I probably would have peed all over myself. But no
So I would have
cap.
folded, boy. What?
AJ, boy, it is so dark back there, boy. Even if you got a light on, boy, that's like a little diamond in the rough, boy. It's so dark back there. And it's every animal you can imagine runs through that back path, boy.
Oh no,
No
I'm
cap.
good.
Exactly.
Including some ghosts, probably, boy. Boy. Anything would hit them bushes by with a ping over with. I'm going out like that.
I'm good.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to switch gears in here and get into a little something else, man. We did take a moment to relive our memories and personal experience because those would make everything that we do from here on out more important and more valuable. Because it's not about the end goal; it's about the journey. Because God always gives you a vision, but He never gives you the journey to get to the vision.
Right.
So first thing we want to get into today, we want to talk about wealth and finances. Because so how can an individual create a realistic budget and account for both short-term and long-term financial goals? And what have you done to achieve these aspects? Because you did buy a house and multiple cars after they accidentally get stolen. You know.
Yeah. Well, I have a basic formula. Okay. And I'm sure you young men heard of this. How do you eat an elephant?
Say that
Start
again.
from, start from the
How
butt.
do you eat an elephant?
Start from the butt.
No,
You start from the front.
no,
You start from the feet.
no, no. Here's the answer. You eat an elephant one bite at a time.
Oh yeah. Okay.
It doesn't matter where you start, it's your approach. So no matter how big a goal is, you got to break it down into bite-sized pieces that you can handle. And you keep doing that, then you achieve what you want. But if you try to tackle everything at once, it's going to give you some problems. It might overwhelm you. So you got to make sure you break things down in segments. Okay. And that's how you do it. Okay. And it doesn't mean that you're not going to run into some challenges and some setbacks and some impediments and roadblocks and stuff like that. That's all along the journey. But your vision is what's going to keep you focused and going forward. Because Jay Fish, you grew up in the country. Have you seen a country road that's going straight without any?
Nah, you'll be lucky if it's pavement, let alone straight.
Right, and that's the thing. So to get where you're going, you're gonna have to go through some curves, some potholes, and all of that. But your vision and your strategy is what's gonna take you through.
Okay. AJ, you got any questions over there, big dog?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay, so moving right along. Okay, so um, how can you create a budget and stick to it even when you face chaos in the midst of a storm?
Okay, when you look at what you have in, here's another thing. You always make sure your income is greater than your outcome or outflow. If you have too much going out and not enough coming in, I don't care what budget you create, it's never going to work. So that's the first job, is to make sure your income is greater than what you have to put out. And I'm not talking about spending stuff. I'm talking about bills. Okay, things that you got to have. You got to have electricity. Um, okay, you want to have a phone, uh, that type of stuff. Okay, so then what you have to do is, all right, here's the goal. I need to save XYZ a month. Okay, where I had to do analysis with myself when we were living up on the hill. I started keeping receipts on what I was spending money on. And I did tally. I think you helped me with it one time. I looked at what I was spending my money on. I'm like, this is not going to work. I'm spending too much money on junk that is, that's not needed. So when I saw that, I cut back on that so I could start saving, and so I can start meeting a goal. And that's what you have to do. That's the first thing that you have to do, is make sure your income is greater than your outcome. If your outcome is greater, then look at ways that you can reduce that so you can get under, because you'll never get ahead if you're spending more than what you're making.
I think that's where I made my mistakes at. I spend more than I save.
Because AJ likes the ball.
I like the ball. I like to swipe, swipe, swipe. Oh, look at the price. Just swipe that card.
Yeah, let me hold that thing for a week or two.
Mhm.
So me personally, man, I got a 70, I got a 70-30 rule, and depends on what time of year it is, it might go down to 80-20. Um, I'm very frugal.
Very.
Everybody say I'm cheap, but I'm not cheap. I just spend money wisely. Um, I have been doing that for a while, and the biggest thing that I know a lot of people that's young, like around my age faces, is like they don't understand, like they don't understand what you saving for. But because saving without a goal is very hard. Like you just putting money here for what? And and a lot of people don't understand financial wealth from a big standpoint. They understand the money that's in their hand, but they not understand how to get the money to work for them. Like when I save, I use a plethora of savings accounts that has a 4 to 7% interest rate, so that I can always get some money back.
Mm-hmm.
So like when people say, "Hey, I pay my rent for a whole year up front," I be like, to me, I mean that's cool. I mean, if you that careless, go do what you do. But me personally, I mean, I have the money to pay my rent for a whole year, but why not place it in for like my Discover account? I get 5%. I get 5% every month on my money. So if I'm getting 5%, I don't took my rent and tripled it. Now I can pay my rent and pay this, pay that. It's all about getting money to work for you. And I don't think a lot of people do that well. I think a lot of people just look around and it's like, well, I'm gonna live in the moment. But I struggle with living in the moment because I'm a visionary person. I always worry about what I'm gonna do tomorrow and 10 years from now. So I always take the short bait today for the long game tomorrow. Um, and a lot of people look at me different. They was like, oh, even AJ be looking at me funny because I don't be buying everything. I just sit there like, but what the discount is on this right here? If I ain't getting no discount, I ain't getting it. But AJ, any questions? Any questions from you or our special
Mm-mm.
guests? Paul, you got any questions, man? You've been receiving all the fire today, man. You haven't been putting out nothing. I told you to be ready. I gave you some warnings.
That's because I haven't had a chance to ask that yet, but I had some questions for you,
Okay.
young man. But you asked AJ a question. Let him, if he has any questions before I get them.
AJ, any questions over there? You real quiet today, man. Don't be
Nah.
crying over
Oh,
there.
no, I don't have any questions right now. No. No, not on this topic, no.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna ask you young men a question over here. What is your net worth?
My my net worth. AJ, you gotta go first.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't even know. I don't even know.
You don't know?
No, I don't know.
What about you, Jay Fish?
I don't like. I could give an estimate, maybe. So when you said net worth, you mean like everything paid off or everything that's in?
Okay. All right. Let's back up a little bit.
Yeah, you got ahead of myself like that.
Yeah. Let's back up a little bit because first of all, you got to understand what's the formula for net worth. Okay, and I'm not going to ask you all that. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you because I don't think you all know this as of yet, and it's fine. When I was young, I didn't know this either. But net worth is not how much money you make, but it's how much you keep. And when I say what you keep, is what you own. Okay, if you go and do a study of all the millionaires that's got, not all of them, but a good portion of them, a lot of that, the biggest one that's got net worth is because of real estate that they, property that they acquired is what they keep. So when you pay in rent year or two ahead, that's all fine and good. But if you want to be more valuable, then you're going to have to think about owning, okay, acquiring. Okay, it doesn't have to be property, but something tangible. That's what's going to increase your net worth. So go ahead.
So me personally, right? Because I understand how finances work. I do not own my personal network is probably what I got in my bank account. And I say that because my business life is a lot different from my personal life. I do that on purpose because when you, as you know, you own a business, certain things that come with it are detrimental. You can be sued and it can fall apart, basically. But for as my network, I would say I bring in an average salary of a year, probably like about 900,000. It could be more, but I just haven't. I got a lot of stuff going on. I just haven't had a lot of time to clean some things up. Most of my money comes from investing in like skyscrapers. So during COVID, I took a hit though. I was down bad, looking kind of sick.
Yeah, well, most of us took a hit during COVID.
For real. But I stuck with it. I didn't sell. I stuck with it, and the main thing about your net worth is it's okay to be a small fish in a big pond because I'm not a rich person. So I take all my pennies and coins and just put them together. And when I get invited to different rooms and projects, I may be a 1% owner, but 1% out of a million, I take that.
One is better than zero.
Right. You can own 100% of zero, or you can own 1% of a million and be okay. And
There you go.
and that, yeah. So anywhere from, I would say, between 5 and 9. We're gonna see this year when I file my taxes. I pay way more than I ever paid before, but stomach hurt.
Yeah, understood.
But personally though, I ain't got no money though. Personally, I don't know. I probably got like what? My rent money in my account. That's it. For real.
Yeah. So just remember now, it's not how much money you make. That's not that doesn't go into your net worth. So just keep that in mind. So as you young men, you got plenty of years ahead of you, hopefully, and you all can kind of have that vision in the head of what you need to do.
And on top of that, the bounce off what you said, your network is based off stuff that add value. Cars does not add value.
Correct.
So you could have $1 million worth of cars and only have $300,000 in net worth. Because cars, once you take it off the lot, it depreciates by 3/4 of the price. So
there you go.
So that and jewelry. Now you put diamonds in your jewelry, that's something else that depreciates as soon as, because a Rolex isn't the same price as it would be with diamonds in it. And that just, and that kind of look tacky. I mean, if you're a rapper, go for it. But I mean, regular everyday person, you're going nowhere fast. Like, don't become a target by being an idiot. And also, we got to give a shout out to our sponsors really quick because we kind of made it halfway through our video and haven't shout out to sponsors. We would like to give a special thank you to A Hand Up Incorporated. Make sure you donate to those guys. Their link will be in the their website will be in the link below. Also, give a shout out to Prince Portfolios, man. Get your folio, get your get your photos done, man. He's always available. He got different packages. He's very price friendly. He charged me, and I'm his friend, so I got beef with him with that right now. But I don't mind helping my friends get where they need to be. And also give a shout out to CLT Thomas LLC. And as speaking of CLT Thomas LLC, the founder himself is on right now. You know, he got a he gonna say a few things about that. He been real quiet about that lately.
We haven't gotten to that yet. So when you open that door, we'll gladly talk about it.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We definitely gonna get there, and I'm trying to get AJ to get into this business world, man. But he keep biting my hand off. He don't
because I'm gonna be honest with you. Like I'm always gonna be honest with people. I'm not the type of person where I'll talk to you, but I'm not gonna sit here and keep having a conversation with you. That's just not me. That's not my boat. I'd rather, you know what I'm saying, work with my hands or do what I gotta do rather than talk to people. That just me. I'm not a people's person to a certain extent. Just not.
There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not a big conversationalist with people either, to be honest with you. He can tell you that. But sometimes you have enough conversations to do what you need to do. And,
True.
And just be straight to the point. So if you see the conversation is, going places that it don't need to, then it's a way to be courteous and say, I appreciate your time. I have appointments I have to get to. So if you be so kindly, and for my appreciation, I'll do this. What you can figure that out how to. Because sometimes you give, you want something, you got to give in return. So you'll figure out what works for you. So it'll work out.
I'll definitely figure that out. But it's crazy because like my previous jobs, I used to work in the casino. Oh, in the casino, that's a whole different ball game. You feel me? I'm like, bet, all right, bet. I can tell you how you can play this, how you can play that. Now we speak at my level, but when it comes to the business side, you lost me on that one.
The business side has just been a big visionary though. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm good at starting the business now, but I do got limitations because I'm a visionary. I suck at once I get it going, I'm going to something else because I get bored. I gotta go figure out what else can I wrap my head around. I forgot one of our sponsors did comment and leave something for me. Let's give a shout out to hold on, this is a new one. JE Airlux Aviation. We forgot about those guys. They do all your long haul charter flights. Make sure you holler at those guys. Tell them we sent you, and they'll give you 25% off your first flight. They do also offer memberships. Become a part of their story, and make sure you share. Also, don't forget to subscribe and comment to our show, The Fishbowl. So I want to switch it up here. Y'all been kind of, I need y'all to get y'all energy together. So we gonna switch it up here real quick, and I'm gonna get into them sorry Cowboys real quick because Jared Jones be wanting me to drop kick him off the edge. I would tell you who my brother team is, but yeah, he ain't ready for that yet. They ain't been nowhere since we've been born, literally.
I mean, that's only because I grew up over there. But I mean, what's the issue about the Cowboys?
Everything. So what made one of the Cowboys one of the biggest brands in the world? Even people that hate the Cowboys still be talking. That's how I need everybody to talk about my companies like that. No press is bad press. And the Cowboys really takes on that brand. Any words from the long time Cowboy fan?
Yeah, I got plenty to say. First of all, you got to understand Jerry Jones and who he is. He's a billionaire owner. How did he become a billionaire? How did he take a team like the Dallas Cowboys, who's already a valuable franchise, and make them quadruple more valuable?
Yeah.
You know the answer to that?
Well, for sure. One thing I know that everybody hate on, I do know Jerry Jones plays a big factor in the NFL TV deals,
Mm-hmm.
along with he's really turned the Cowboys into a museum, not really a football team, but a museum, and that's museums make more money than anything that's active. That's why people that paint get paid more when they die than when they live.
Mm.
Right. Uh, Jerry, you got to understand his strategy. Um, he's on the team for really 3 decades. But his as you get older, you get wiser. Now he was a gamble, what they call a boat gambling, the riverboat gambler. Easy for me to say, or he would take big risk. But
Mm-hmm.
now that he's got the franchise up to a certain point, he doesn't need to necessarily take those risks. So his business model is simple: is to keep the media talking. So when Jerry talks, he talks about things controversial that's going to keep the media talking, keep the Cowboys in the news, so and so. It's keeping that money. Now the franchise has not won, okay? But see, the thing is, they're not going to sit there and invest in free agency as most teams do. This organization is a drafting franchise. That's what they do. They draft. They draft
Mm-hmm.
very, very well.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, the thing is, it's very difficult to win. You really got to have a top 2 or 3 quarterback to win. Now with free agency has changed, the rules have changed and all that. So
Not
now,
Brock Purdy, not Brock Purdy, like a 20th round quarterback.
yeah, but what did they win this year?
You're right. The AFC Championship.
NFC Championship, which doesn't mean anything. If you look at the Genesis World Book of Records, nobody cares about who won the conference championship. They cared about who won the Super Bowl. Go
Mm-hmm.
back and look. Ask whoever lost the Super Bowl. No, half the time nobody even knows. It's winning the championship. That's how you make your fame. You can make your name in the regular season, but you make your fame in the playoffs. So you got to have one of those top 2 or 3 that's going to take you over the top. So that's really been the problem. Now, last year was a bigger problem. Now, Dak didn't play that great in the playoff game, but you had an outgoing defensive coordinator who wasn't focusing and was trying to get the next job. And the defense wasn't prepared, and they gave up a lot of coverage bust and a lot of points, which made it very difficult for any quarterback to win the game. Now that contributed with those untimely picks that made it worse. But the thing is, if you look at the winning percentages of the Cowboys over the past decade, there's only one team that's got a better winning percentage.
So was it the Steelers?
No, it's the Kansas City Chiefs.
Mm.
Yeah,
Okay.
I knew
But the difference is Kansas City just cashed theirs in and they got championships to show for it, whereas the Cowboys don't. So it's getting once you get in the playoffs, then you got to do something. If they figure that part out, then it's be fine. But well, what people don't understand, yes, it's been 28 years, but look at the franchises who hasn't won anything. Period. I made a post on one of my social media account talking about it's been 28 years. All these fans from these different teams said, "Oh, you crying about that? How about being a fan of this team? It's been 50 years. We never done this. We never done that."
Yeah,
And
how
it's
about being a Jet fan or being a Giant or being a Jets fan for sure?
right. So yeah. Everybody, the media will talk about that. But there's the same team that went to the Super Bowl. Their Super Bowl winning a Super Bowl is longer than ours.
I
Yeah.
didn't know. Mm.
They've been to the Super Bowl, but they haven't won.
So it don't really matter if you get there and you don't do nothing with it.
Right. That's the entire point. That's what people got to keep in mind.
So we're gonna switch. We're gonna switch. We're gonna bounce around. We're gonna lead the NFL and we're gonna hit on college a little bit. As you and I both are Florida Gator fans, and
You a Gator fan too?
absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely. I went to high school 25 miles from the campus.
Oh,
So, who are some name 3 most memorable players that you think are the prime examples to create the Florida Gator brand?
Well, going back to my high school days, we were terrible. We were 0-10-1. The coach got fired, and we had a coach coming by the name of Charlie Pell. Okay, his thing was, and excuse my language, I'm gonna say this because it's the slogan. The slogan was "Give them hell, Pell," uh, and he did things to get the Florida Gators on the map. Wayne Peace was the first quarterback, Gators quarterback besides Steve Purdy to actually make Sports Illustrated. That started that started getting the train rolling off the track. Now the team only won 7, 8 games, but it was a big deal back then because they have never seen a winning team like that. So it just paved the way for Steve Spurrier to come in. Then you had Danny Warfel. That would probably be the second biggest thing that we had because he won the Heisman. Okay, that was the first quarterback to win the Heisman after Steve Spurrier. So that was big. Okay, and then I'll and then of course you got Tim Tebow. That would probably be your third person who not only won the Heisman but he won 2 national championships. So those are your probably three big names on the program.
Okay. Well, for me personally, I gotta go with Tebow at number one because Tebow set a culture trend, man. Tebow is the reason why you can't put Bible scriptures under your eye today. Gotta go with Tebow. I gotta go. Believe it or not, man, y'all don't understand that Cam Newton really was on that team. You know what I'm saying? He gonna be my honorable mention because Cam Newton was on that team and he was definitely gonna be him if he would have stayed.
Yeah, you
Then
probably saw two more additional national championships had he stayed.
then moving on, I'm gonna go with Percy Harvin.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Percy Harvin, Also another honorable mention is Aaron Hernandez. Say what y'all want to say, but my dog was a dog on and off the field. He gonna give it to you any type of way. He might shoot at you on the weekend, but on Saturday he gonna line it up and play with you. He gonna play real football with you. You know what I'm saying? My brother over there, he's a Miami fan. So we ain't even gonna talk to him. We gonna really throw him out the chat, to be honest.
mean, if we go really gonna
they ain't win no bread and butter since butter and bread been made.
like really, but we was on probation.
I'll tell you what.
We was on probation.
I will give respect to Miami because they got on the map. They were just as bad as we were when I was in high school. As a matter of fact, Miami got beat by FAMU. That was their low point.
Whoa! Shout out to the Rattlers, man.
FAMU went to Miami and beat them in their own stadium. Sammy Knight had a big game. I remember that.
Shout out to them Rattlers, man. Shout out to them Rattlers, man.
Yeah, that was a low. And after that, they hired Howard Schellenberg. I think I'm saying his name. And he's the one that got that train rolling. That they recruited players like Jim Kelly.
I didn't know that.
There's a group of brothers that played safety. I just can't think of their names right now. He got them the first national championship. They upset Nebraska in the big game, and that's what got them rolling. Because then Jimmy Johnson came behind him, and Erickson and stuff like that. So I mean, I give respect for Miami because they made Florida a powerhouse for recruits. Because at one time we had Miami, the Gators, and FSU all in the top 5. Nobody wanted to play any of us. We just beat up on each other when we played because we played each other every year until the SEC decided that we needed another conference game. So we had to drop the Miami game, and that moved to once every 4 years. So just a little history for you guys. I've been around.
I did not know that, but I can't stand Florida State. I remember last year, I went back home, and my girlfriend during that time, she called herself being funny, but she got me a Florida State cake as for my birthday. Wow. Just believe when we got back, I dumped her. I was like, you playing with your life, like nah, but yeah. My mom's side of the family, they love the Seminoles. They love the Seminoles. I'm like, y'all family, I love y'all, but just know game day, we enemies. We enemies.
Yeah, well, same here with my family. A lot of my family are FSU fans, and we go at it every time the Gators play.
Oh, FSU. Ugh.
Well,
Yeah, so
Ugh.
one of the biggest people I have smoke with sports is Pastor Henry for sure. I got all kind of smoke with him. I really want to smoke him out of the state of Florida. Like I want to smoke him as far as I can get him from me. He like Alabama. He like the Steelers. Like what is he doing?
well, he's from Alabama. What you expect?
But Pittsburgh though, Pittsburgh that he could have been a Tennessee fan. That's closer.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can say the same thing for us. We Cowboys fans, and we're in Florida.
But but it's something about the silver and blue, man. It just make everything look better too. Just
Yeah,
something about the silver and blue. But
yeah, that's because we fans. But the thing that bothers me whenever the Cowboys do win the next Super Bowl, then people are like, "Well, you a bandwagon fan?" Like, no, it take a special love to be your fan to put up with this stuff for 30 and 40 years, and you all talking and ridiculing, and then how you gonna sit around and turn around and say we're a bandwagon fan? I know players off the 1 in 15 1989 Cowboys team.
mm, so we gonna we're gonna switch topics here. We're gonna get into starting a business and having a business. That's one of our top segments. You know, everybody kind of tune in to see what we're gonna say about having business, starting a business. Because somebody on the other episode, they don't like talking about business. You know, Mister, I'm good with my hands. The first thing is, man, what are the key steps to identifying a valuable business opportunity and developing a business plan?
Well, the first thing that you got to figure out, you got to start with you before you even do anything. What is your mindset? What are you looking to accomplish? Well, what is the vision that you have for your? There's no word again, vision. What is the vision that you would have for business? So that's the first thing you got to determine, because
AJ, you listening?
Mm-hmm.
You write it down now. Write it down now. Take a picture. Write it down. Record it.
Boy, you funny.
I'm just saying, man. Because you can continue.
Yeah, because if you're not sure what you want to do, it's not going to work because your mindset is not where it needs to be. Okay, and then if you're going to go into business, you got to shift your mind to, because don't be looking for no weekly paycheck, especially when you first start out. Because if that's what you're trying to do, then you need to be an employee, because you got to have a long-term vision and goal for your business. You ain't looking to get paid. You're looking to establish yourself and brand. The money will come, but your mind has got to be in the right place to deal with that. And don't be looking talking about I need 40 days vacation a year and all that other stuff. When you start in a business, there's no days off. You do what you got to do to get this business on the map. Then later on, you can take time and it can run on autopilot, or you got people that can run it for you that's working for you. Then you can do that. But your mindset has to be the first thing before you even think about starting a business.
Okay.
Another thing that I noticed about having a business is I always make this joke, and I think a lot of people think I be playing, but I say like me now as a college student I am now. I sit in class and I was like, yeah, like I need to keep in contact with this person and that person because believe it or not, school is cool and all, but bro, it's a lot of people that you meet in school that can build your vision for you. But that's what they're good at, and that's what they want to do. Like I know people that's in my class, they ain't gonna be nothing but a a number cruncher. That's it. That's all they want. That's the height of their life. They're gonna do that for 50 years. You know what? Come on and do that for me, and I'll make sure you get paid well.
There you go.
And I definitely that's something I definitely do. Like look, in this situation, I'm not the most friendliest person, but I do make relationships with my business. So I definitely do that. Like that's something. Relationships take you further than any piece of knowledge you ever will have. That will get
True.
you in rooms and have your name in people's mouth that you don't even know, but they know more about you than you do about them.
I
And
agree with that.
moving on to my next question, um, what are some ways to level funding and gain capital when you first start a business, depending on the field?
Okay, well, if you're going to a level, then what you want to do is try to get your money to work for you instead of you working for your money. Okay, so you got to look into. It's easy to put money into a savings account, but it's not really doing anything in a savings account. So you got to look into.
That's
Uh,
0.01 dividend.
right, right, right. So you got to do some research and figure out what ways that you can put money in. Okay, there's IRAs that you can get into that you can research, uh, and eventually you can put something into a trust, properties and all that, and have it secured and all of that. But that's the first thing that you gotta do is just again you gotta get out of that employee mindset. Employee, I'm gonna put this in savings and it'll be good. Well, no, but you gotta understand this is where your long-term vision will come into play. Okay, so you gotta think about ahead of time, not what I'm gonna be next week. I get paid next week. I get paid next week. What do I want? What's my uh, worth over here? If I have this money here in this IRA, this gives me more flexibility because now I can take this money, I can go buy or invest into another piece of property, put some people in there, and not only will that money be cash flowing now, but it will also put money back into your pocket, and it'll do this. It will it'll start lessening your taxes, okay? Because the government looks at if you're putting people in housing, then you're being a help to them, so they're gonna give you a tax break for that.
Mm.
So now you're starting to uh, not like compound interest, but kind of your money's working two or three different ways for you instead of just sitting in the savings account and doing nothing. If that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense. I didn't think about that.
So I do have a little real estate portfolio, and I was able to accumulate a few of what is it called, the quadplexes, and yeah, you definitely right. You're definitely right about that. One thing that has helped me grow my capital for as a business person, and a lot of people don't know, man. I used to have a job. I used to work so many hours a week. Ain't that right, Pops? I had two or three of them things. I
You
used to
sure,
work for real.
sure did.
I used to be like everybody think. The funny thing about me is everybody think everything that I accumulated has been given to me, or like I'm cocky or this person about a situation. I was like, man, I built this from ground zero, man. I used to go to class, sleep. I used to be just doing everything sleep, man, because I had a job and I saved all my money or whatever. So when I was younger, I did get my not real estate license. I did get my life insurance license when I was 20, and I learned about this thing called a university life insurance policy. And all the money I had in my savings account, I put it in this policy, and that allowed me to grow my capital and allowed me to take out the middleman of a bank because I'm my own bank at that point. Um, I
Yep.
started off with one. Now I have about 7 different policies, and to make it better, so my structure of business is I open up a trust. I put my bank accounts inside of a trust.
Mm-hmm.
Then I put all my companies inside of a trust.
There
I
you
didn't
go.
I didn't know this when I first started. So one of my companies like on the middle line because it's like public and it's private on one side. So it's like half and half. So then I put it inside of a trust and like so I really own nothing. So like going back to my net worth, I'm worth $0.50. But my trust has everything in there and it allows me to move freely
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not gonna get into the details about a trust. If you want to know more about a trust, just I will put the emails in the description. We will send them over. Once you got this trust, it allows you to move different. Like say one of your companies go bankrupt, you could bankrupt that company, open up another company over here, and keep it moving. And make sure you have a holding company. The holding company is called a pyramid. Having that holding company, all my companies are like similar, but they all got different names, but they all on a holding company. So when I send money over to each one of them throughout my trust, it's more of a gift than it is like a transaction, so they can't tax it. And having that, but going back to the universal life insurance policy, having that allowed me to gain a lot of capital because University life insurance policies, I got an index policy. So that means my policy does not dip when the market dip. It stays the same and it only goes up. So for my policies that I opened 2 years ago, they are at 11%. So anytime I want to do a new business venture, I just go knock on the door, tap into that, and withdraw the money. And this the benefit. This another benefit. If something happen to me, something happens to happen to me, it's still to pay my family out 100% of the policy, even though I didn't make the full payment back. So it's little ways to do that because a bank gonna say I need 2 years and something and a whole lot of other stuff you need for them to give you a loan to even think about it. Then on top of that, hey, if you black boy, good luck,
Good
chicken
luck with
duck.
that.
Yeah, because they are really, but a lot of banks and loans, they definitely go for your zip code. Your zip code determines whether you're gonna get a lot of stuff. And I didn't really understand that until I got this new zip code, and I'm like, bro, I get approved for everything. I got an American Express card about 2 months ago because I was just playing around. Zip code. But if I use another zip code, would it be the same? Probably not.
You go.
It's all about it's about a zip code. The bank they looking at your name, yeah, but they look at your zip code. They're like, oh, you can afford to live there, so that means you can afford to pay us back. Like that's how they looking at it. They're looking at and people say they look at your your debt to income ratio. No, they look at the community debt to income ratio.
Right. And that's why it's beneficial to have a business address because it's smart anyway where you don't have everything at your actual residence. But having a business address in a good neighborhood, because they're not going to sit there and necessarily look at, or he just got a PO box. I mean, well, don't get a PO box anyway, but get something where it's going to have a real address, and then going to open up some doors for you. Because just like Jay Fish is saying, they're going to look at that and say, okay, well, he's there, so he can afford to do this and do that. He's absolutely correct.
So it took me a minute to learn that though. Like this is, everybody out here be playing checkers. They playing chess. And, hey, I just like playing chess too because I'm real patient. So I can play chess. I like to play chess from time to time. Another thing, do you want to tell the good people about your business, man? Because I know a lot of people that watches, man. They'll be very interested in the things that you do because it's a lot of people with an entrepreneur spirit that watches our shows, and we want to make sure we get them something to do and something to go by, and make sure we are a resource and not a liability or wasting their time at the fishbowl.
Agreed. It'd be my pleasure. COT LLC. We have a division that works with small business owners' websites. A lot of, I won't say a lot. There's a portion of small business owners that don't either have a website or it's not expedient or up to date. Because what you have to understand as a small business owner, your website is actually it advertises who you are as a company and what you have to offer. So if you don't have that button up, then it makes it a little difficult. And also business logos, and we specialize in that as well. And the reason we do that is because we want to tie and brand your business to your logo. Because when people look at you, they look at that logo. If that logo doesn't necessarily catch their attention, they might go on to the next thing. But if your logo is eye catching, people are going to be like, you know what? Let me dig into this a little bit. They go to the website and they go to the website and that's buttoned up and it's that. Well, let me give them a call. So this is what we want to do, and what I'd like to do is because I understand having a business, how tight sometimes finances can be. I will work with you financially to help you meet your goal as long as you're upfront with me and we can work with your budget and get you button up, have a nice website that's going to highlight what you have to offer in your business and bring you the customers that you need online as well as a logo and help brand your identity and your vision and your purpose through both.
We do need that 10% up front though, because people been trying to lately. We do need that up front.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. It worked out. The little issue that I told you last week, that's been resolved, so we good there. Um, so yeah, so it's just one of those things that we communicate, and yes, you have to put something down to get things started. But we can work with that. Work with you on that, and just give us a call. You can reach me on Yelp. You can reach me on Facebook, Twitter, my website. JFish has that, so feel free to use that and reach out to us, and we will. Our business phone numbers on there as well. So reach out, and we will glad to give you a free consultation.
Yeah, I'm still waiting on my logos, but I still haven't made a payment, so I get it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm actually getting ready to start on yours. I got a little break between projects, so I got you.
I got it. So man, I've been trying to get my brother into starting a business, man. I even, I'm gonna definitely I got a few friends that I wanna put him in the circle with, and then I'm gonna put them guys together and let them start a I'm gonna be the supervisor to their business. I'm gonna say that.
Well,
Because
first of
Oh
all,
my God.
let me
they
say
late,
something.
cause they lazy, man. They don't want to take no. They not
You
lazy.
you
Let me
got
say that.
you got to understand what does he want to do. He may not want to
Like
start a.
I told Jay Fish what I wanted to do, and it goes back to my childhood experience. You know, I was in the foster care system at the age of 10 through the age of 15. So I never really had a childhood experience. But just being in a group home, it really kind of messed my mindset up. So I always made my goal is to, when I get my mind right and everything in order, is to help those people, help not those people, but help those kids out. You know what I'm saying? And actually just be an advocate for them. Be there, just be there for them. Not even advocate, just to be there for them, and just to tell them, look, I understand what you're going through. I understand how it is where, you know what I'm saying, no one actually believes you. I know how it is. I know exactly what you're going through. So let me, what I'm saying, let me take you under my wing and show you how to operate in the real world, but still be the same person who you are. That's my goal, and that's my passion.
But I also had to explain to Mr. AJ there that everybody say do what you love and do what you love. My motto is to life is do what pays your bills first, then do what you love and hope that makes the same amount of money. You can do what you love all day. If I could be honest with you, I know some people I went to high school with. They still playing football to this day, but they ain't got no chicken. They ain't got no dollars in their pocket. So hey, do what you love. You'll be broke, or you can do like it's not a bad thing, but you definitely got to do something to fund that to fund your fun. Um,
There you go.
so you definitely got to do both of those. And I'm trying to explain that to him and him and the two other people that this is gonna be a hands-on activity. So I just need them to all to agree because it is you're not gonna be where you think you want to be working for somebody else. It ain't nothing like having your own and knowing that because one thing that I don't like is having a job and you putting your face out there and you doing all the right things for them. Why can't you do that for yourself? It's a lot easier for yourself because you know your inside morals. When you work for a company, you might got to straddle the line because maybe everything they're saying doesn't line up with what you're saying. So having your own is definitely one of those things that would definitely help you out. And I'm trying to explain that to Mr. AJ over there. And yeah, so moving right along, man, we're gonna get into our last remarks, and I just wanted to know what do you think about the Fish Bowl, and would you come back on, and so we can get out, so I can get my logos one day. And
You own them logos, aren't you?
we're gonna get Mr. AJ some logos too, man, because he's gonna need them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like I said, we gonna get you hooked up. So, but yeah, I enjoyed myself. You have a good platform, and I want you to keep up the good work. Keep doing it. Don't worry about the outside noise because it was like the conversation we had the other night. So you gotta keep focused and what the vision that This vision, you had this vision from the very beginning of what you wanted to do. So you keep moving in the direction of your vision, no matter what the outside noise is. And you're going to be blessed because of that.
I wanted to say two things before. Hold on, my bad. We jumped the gun a little bit. I wanted to say two things before we hop into those conclusions again. The first thing is I try to explain to everybody like when I start people that ask when I start a business, I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't know about you, but I gotta like I know what I'm looking at, and I'm gonna just rock with it. However it goes, however it goes. I ain't really because if you sit if you sit around and think about it, you'll talk yourself out of it every time.
Right. This truth is that what you're saying. That's exactly the way it has to be. It's taking action. You have a thought, but if you can have, there's a whole bunch of, it's a graveyard full of people that have thoughts and $1 million ideas, but never acted on it. So the difference
Cool.
is just acting on, do something. You gonna fall on your face. You might fail a couple times. You might lose money, but you're gonna learn from that. And okay, well, next time I'm not going to go this way. I'm going to go to my right instead of going to my left. Okay. And I'm going to talk to the person that's in the red dress instead of the orange dress. I'm just making stuff up. But when you make those mistakes, you learn from it and then you move. But you'll never learn anything at all if you don't do anything at all.
See, AJ, I told you. I told you. So another thing I wanted to hop into real quick. I know you did say you was a pastor and that all that good stuff. And yeah, I grew up in the church. Y'all didn't know, so I'll let y'all know that now. I just
Sure, you ain't the only one. My mom, I grew up in the church too. My mom is a PK kid, and I forgot what they were. I think Pentecostal. And truth be told, this is, I know this is off topic, but this is, it really kind of played a role in my childhood. Like since my mother was a PK kid, you know, me and my brother, we didn't understand what Christianity was. All we knew was our mama is the pastor's child. The rest of, and including her brothers and sisters. So instead of them breaking down to us exactly what our role is to do on earth, religion was just basically forced down our throat, causing me and my younger brothers to act up. Oh, best believe when we was 18, we wasn't coming back to the church. So it's like now that we're older, it's that old saying that our grandma used to tell us that, you know what I'm saying, a hard head makes itself behind, that makes us come back to the church. And I kept remember everything my mom used to do when we was little, like from singing them old hymns to, oh, God's gonna get you one day. You keep playing with God. God's gonna get you into and everything she said. I remember it until one day, I kid you not, I was somewhere. I was like living my life, top of the top. Got a brand new car, brand new job, and everything. I was living life. Then one day a situation happened. I lost everything. It happened so fast to the point where I wanted to scream, I wanted to cry. My emotion was everywhere. But I was at work and I had to control my emotions. That right there was just like, that really showed me humility.
Yeah. I'll tell you all a quick story. And I don't, J Fish, you probably don't even know this, but one key thing for me, I'm just like like AJ said, I was forced to go to church and all that, and I actually gave my life to the Lord when I was 12. Well, when I got 17 or 18, I went into
Pops,
ministry.
you gotta come back to the mic. You kind of walking away from it a little bit. You gotta come back to the mic.
Hold on a second. All right, can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're clear, Mama. Yeah, you walked away from it for a second. Yeah, we gonna keep this uncut and raw, so we never edit any other video. We just rock with it how it is. I feel like it's nothing more real than the person in the fishbowl.
Yeah, exactly. But
Yeah,
anyway, when I went in the military, I kind of went wild and did stuff and drinking and carrying on, running behind women, just like a typical young man was. And one night I got really inebriated with alcohol, and I remember getting in my rack, and the bed was spinning around, and I had this vision where I was taken up by an angel out of my body. And I asked
Mm.
him, okay, where are you taking me? He like, you'll see. And then I went back to my child. It took, he said, look down. And I saw my childhood church. I'm like, okay. And then he said, no, look a little closer. And I looked, and I was able to see in the church, and I saw this altar with a bunch of young people in it. And he's like, look a little closer. And then I saw myself where I was, you know, giving my life to the Lord. So when I looked at the angel, I was back in my bed. And then I immediately, what happened was there was a cross that came down, and I said, it was sizzling. I'm like, this is going to burn my forehead. And I was doing my best to try to move, and I couldn't move. But when it touched my forehead, I woke up, and I jumped out of my rack and looked at the mirror to see what was left on the mark, and it was nothing. But then I realized, like, I'm not drunk anymore. And the bed stopped spinning, and that kind of stuck with me to say, look, no matter what you do, I have a vision and I have a purpose for you. So I'm letting you do these things, but you're coming back and you're going to do these things for me. So that's what I'm saying. That we all have done some things, but uh, it's like a leash. He pulls us back in. Does that make any sense?
It
Oh
makes a
yeah.
lot of sense.
One thing that freaked me out as a kid is, Pops, you was there when Elder Thomas told me I'm gonna be a pastor, and I'm like, bro, he tripping. He probably don't know how bad I am.
Yeah, well, the thing was, it wasn't me. That's what people don't understand is that, like, well, what made you decide to do this and go into ministry? I'm like, you all don't understand. I didn't want to do that. I'm quiet. I didn't like to talk, any of that. So I fought. Yeah, I was in my 20s when I got called. I fought with everything. Lord, I'm not doing it. I got put on the floor in my apartment for the 8 hours because I would not accept the calling that he had on my life.
Mm.
And when I accept that calling, I got up off the floor. And then I was told, okay, you need to let your pastor know. And I'm like, no, I ain't gonna call him. Back on the floor, I went in my kitchen in a ball in the fetal position until I said, yes, I will call it. I got
So,
up off the floor. I made the call, and I'm like, please don't answer the phone because I did not want to tell him that. It was a Saturday afternoon. I said, he ain't gonna be home no way. No, he was home. He answered the phone. So I
so,
had to tell him. But until I told him what happened, only then did I get any relief. But I was fighting that with everything I had because I did not want to do what I'm doing spiritually. Not at all.
that's crazy. Well, one of the things that I experienced personally is like I did go through a phase where, Pops, me and you had this conversation multiple times. I think growing up as a kid, you explained it to me more better, and I understood some things because like I wasn't a big fan of church because I was forced to go to church, so I kind of fought the wrath, and I really didn't enjoy it. But when we made the transition to move some wells, I enjoyed it, man. I used to go to Bible study on Wednesdays. We used to be in church all the time. That was a part of our everyday routine. But it didn't feel like church. It felt like it was different. The energy was there. It was you could feel the difference in the heart. It wasn't a dress up competition. It was more of a everybody here has something heavy on their heart and they want to get it off. And this is the place that we all feel comfortable and safe in. But to move right along, I wanted to. So I got a few scriptures that's my favorite that are my go-to scriptures every day. I put them on the front of my phone. I have in my notes. Um, my favorite one is you don't realize now what I'm doing, but you will later understand. Do y'all know what scripture that is?
Mm-mm.
Mm. Anything from you over there, Pops? You know?
What version are you reading from? Is that NIV?
Yeah, yes it is. Yes it is.
Okay, that's why then.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
that's why I'm not catching that. But say it again.
You do not realize now what I'm doing, but later you will understand.
Yeah, I don't know what that is off the top of my head. I'll be honest with
Okay, no, that's fine. Yeah, I ain't actually be a Bible dictionary.
you.
um,
Yeah, I don't know what that is off the top of my head.
but that verse there has kept me who I am for so long. Like everything that I do, I'm gonna be very, very honest. Everything I do is very uncoordinated. I go against the grain all the time. Nothing I do is traditional. So everybody look at me funny and weird until the end product comes along, and now everybody wants to hop in the wagon. Like you said, that squeaky wagon was real squeaky. Now everybody want to try to quiet it.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at I look at people along my journey as in like a lot of people may not say this, but I'm gonna say it. Pops, you know this too. A lot of people may not say this, and I'm not very vocal about it. But a lot of people don't believe in nothing I do. They don't believe I should be here. But you know, the odds ain't never been in my favor, so I don't even count them no more. But uh, a lot of people just didn't believe in what I was doing and who I am today. They was like, "Hey, ain't no way he gonna make it." AJ, you can understand this a lot more. They was like, "You gonna be like your father." If I can sit on the wall
And
at
that,
any of our family events, I
oh
bet money they have
God,
said that about us many of times. They're
I that right there, my mm,
they're
that
waiting. They're
that that
waiting
right there,
for us though.
that's a trigger. I remember
Th-
one day I was like 15, and my mom, she got remarried as well, and I just got out of the group home, and she said something. She was like, "That's why you're gonna be just like your father." That right there, it was just like if I was, I don't know. It just did something to me. I didn't like that feeling, and to this day, I never told her that.
Mm,
I can actually relate to that. Jfish, you may not know, but well, my dad passed when I was 12 or 13. But he had sickle cell anemia. That back then they didn't have the stuff that can help people like they did back then.
Mm,
We did a lot of suffering, but we had a lot of battles. He just didn't understand me, so I got a lot of backlash from him, saying I wasn't gonna be nothing. That a lot of times I wanted to fight him, but my mom wouldn't allow that to happen. So, but when you hear things like that, it's either going to do two things to you. It's either going to motivate you to prove them wrong, or it's going to break you and you're going to prove them right. So, my thing with me is like, I got to prove this man wrong because he doesn't think I'm good enough to be his son. But I'm gonna prove that I'm gonna make the last name as best as I can. So it you can take that feeling and turn it into triumph is what I'm trying to say.
mm. Can can I ask y'all this? Does it? I feel like, in my opinion, it hurts when someone says that. It hurts worse when coming from a woman than it is coming from a male. Like if it was my uncle that said that, it wouldn't have hurt. But since it came from my mother, it kind of like it was like a dag. It's like a dagger to the heart. Like like fatality. You know what I'm saying? Finish them. But
I think it's just because of who the person they came from.
yeah,
I wouldn't
Right.
say because like I'm not gonna lie to you, man. Like people told me that my whole life, man. Look, man, I have aunts, uncles, side of my face told me the same thing. But the funny thing is now it's the same one that said I couldn't is calling on me to do everything. And it's be like, bro, go move around, go do something with yourself. You said I couldn't, but I keep showing up and I keep producing every time. So I'm really you set your limitations on me because you didn't want to do it.
mm,
So what you have to keep in mind, AJ, is the enemy, who we call Satan, is working against us. So he knows whoever that person that's closest to you that you value, that's the person that he uses to try to bring you down.
mm,
And that can be
yeah,
your mother, that can be your father, that can be your sister, your auntie, whoever. Because it kind of like when they you hear them speak, you're like, whoa, wait a minute now. I thought you had my back when nobody else did.
mm-hmm,
So, but then you have to gather yourself and say, well, wait a minute, is that the way this person really feel, or is it coming through somebody else, coming through the common enemy that we all have? And 90% of the time they're being used. Because if they say something just one time, it's who that's coming from. It's not really them. So you have to kind of keep that in mind and let that motivate you and not let it break you.
I
Mm.
got I gotta stand on business every time. If you said it, you got to deal with it. I don't care if
Right.
Jesus.
I'm
I don't
I'm the
care
same
if
way because it's like being adult about it. You know what I'm saying?
I don't care
If
who
you
told you to say it. You got to stand on that business, and I'm gonna always
yeah,
hold you
being
accountable for
adult.
that.
I
Yeah,
rather
it's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that you just say, all it's all ice cream and gravy, we good and all that. I'm not saying that. It's just you have to kind of keep things in perspective, because then what you have to understand also is to not let the same hate harbor in your heart, because if you're not careful, that stuff will get into your spirit, and you mess around and say it to somebody else or say it to your children one day, and you wonder why you did that, because you let it get into your heart and spirit. So you have to forgive people. uh it's like somebody put a sore put a wound on you. Yeah, it's gonna heal, but you can always realize it's there. And I said that to say this: you realize who that person is now that they said what they said.
hmm
But you don't get to the point where, I ain't saying you got to invite them over to Thanksgiving dinner or nothing like that, but you don't sit there and let that hate, because it'll turn into hate real quick. Because
I,
I had to deal with this with my own father. I was to the point where I completely disliked that man. I completely disliked him. Uh,
I think we all in the same boat here.
I'm serious, because it's like, you moan and you think I'm nothing. I'm gonna show you. Um, you know, because sometimes my parents would get into it, and I would take my mom's side, and I was a little too. I couldn't deal with him, so he would tear me up, spank me up. And I remember my mom telling me, so you let him get grown, it's gonna be a different story. But he eventually got it together. Gave his life to the Lord, stopped drinking and all that stuff, and turned and tried to make up. So I had to forgive him for that. But you don't forget, you'll never forget it. But you just don't
I
let it.
probably still would have spanked him out.
You say what now?
I probably still would have spanked him out. I don't care how much you change. You only change on the surface. I still would have spanked him out.
Yeah, yeah. But see, that's the difference. Because see, when we say we want to be like Jesus or things like that, we have. So he's going to put you to the test, because you
I
have to
felt
sit
that
and
one.
face your enemies. Okay,
Mm.
and then it's what you gonna do, because the natural part of you is gonna want to lay some hands. Now, I'm just gonna be completely honest.
right.
But
I
then,
would have.
That's
the
nature.
spiritual side, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell you, young man, something. My first marriage, my mom convinced me to let the pastor at that time counsel us, and I'm like, okay, mom, you sure? And he want to help you all. That's okay. He did. He had his ideas, and I was, I had an open mind. But this man got up. I don't even think it was 3 weeks. Got up in a Bible study, because I was the youth minister at the time. He wanted to silence me, and he told the congregation I didn't know how to treat my wife. The stuff that we had talked about in private came out where everybody knew it.
Oh
I was
no.
so
See,
mad.
that's your character. That's your character right there. And when people overstep, for me personally,
But
once you,
wait a minute. You gotta let me finish now. You gotta let me finish, because it's not over. Because my thing after service, me and him was gonna get into it. I said, I'm gonna teach him about tearing my business. Because I couldn't wait till after church, and I was heading to his car, like, yo, man, we got some beef that we gotta settle. And the Lord sit there and grabbed me before I even get to the car and said, no. He said, I called that man to preach, and the pastor, I didn't call you. You let me deal with him, but don't you say a word, and don't you put your hands on him, else you gonna bring a curse on it. I heard that just like me and you were talking.
oh man,
I had to sit there. I
me and
had to
God have to get it in too.
I
Yeah,
had
I'm
I had
I'm
sorry.
fighting him too.
I had to sit there, turn around, and almost cry, because I wanted to lay hands on him so bad, because I was so mad. Cause like, how you
Mm.
gonna sit there tear my business in front of everybody like that?
And you gotta sit there and deal with it. Oh
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. I was so upset, and I had to deal with that. Then the whole church turned against me, um, and all that. I had to deal with that, and they sitting there trying to tell me what I'm gonna do when my mom got sick. Uh, no, your stepfather need to do this. Me and my stepfather almost got into a physical altercation because he
Mm.
started doing the same stuff my dad did, and it's like, no, you ain't gonna do this in front of my mom. We was gonna go outside and have a boxing match, and my mom like,
Mm.
no, you ain't. My son ain't gonna fight my husband like that. But yeah, I went through a lot of stuff as a young man. But I was determined. I said, Mom, you just tell me what you want, because I said, if you want to stay here with your husband, I have no problem with that. Okay, but if I leave, this is what's gonna happen. She said, no, you get me to Tallahassee with my sisters. That's what I want you to do. So I like, okay, I got it. And I did that. Despite of what that I know that pastor was against me to the nail, but I told him, I said, listen, when it comes to my mom, okay, that's when this ends. We're going to Tallahassee, whether you prove it or not. Okay. I'm like, well, I just think your my stepfather was a preacher too. He need to be involved. I said, we got him involved. I said, the choice he makes is his own, but this is my mom. That's what y'all don't understand. So I'm gonna do what's best for my mother. Bottom line.
But he acting like a dictator.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. It wasn't gonna fly with me. Her friends, my mom's friends, turned on me too. Well, I've been knowing
Wow.
mom since I'm like, I don't care. That's still my mom. Okay? You're not gonna do this. You're not gonna come over the house anytime you feel like it. Okay? This is the time that I set for you all to come by. I'm not being mean, but I gotta put my foot down. And everybody's gonna be subject to what I say. And that's that. You know, they respected that, but I had to do that. Okay?
Ooh, boy.
I made some
Mm.
enemies, but it didn't change. You will never become this and you never become that. I was like, well, God's got me. He's the one that called me, not you.
Mm.
That's the biggest thing that the younger that we deal with in our young generation, man. Because older people like that has spiked the Bible so bad, and they like to use it when they feel like it. It's going to church is not really going to church; is sitting in church and see who and like who is who, because it's more of a watching game than everybody getting here to rejoice. So it's kind of a definitely a dangerous game to play, if anything. So
Yeah.
You
that's
will know
crazy.
them by the fruits that they bear. It's in the scripture. And it's not the not the dancing, shouting, and speaking in tongue. All of that stuff is all good. I've done that. I understand that. But at the end of the day, the person who that person really is what's gonna come out. And the fruit
Mm,
that they bear, you all gonna see that. And if it don't
mm.
line up to what they say in church, then you gotta. If they show you who they are, believe them.
The first time, don't forget that. The first time, don't do it 3 times. The first
Right
time.
there, you go.
So I do want to hop back to the conclusions, man, because you guys, we have this has been a great interview, and we definitely want to bring you back. Now, that's if you would like to come back, and man, we'll have a different, we'll do something different, change it up. Definitely change it up because AJ over there, he real quiet, man, quiet as a mouse. Now, I think you shocked him with your words today, because I thought he think he was gonna come on here with a stick.
Yeah,
But
I definitely like to come back. I love it.
all right,
I
bet
got a
that.
question. I got a question.
See,
It
he
it, it,
always
pertain,
do this last minute. He love to get in his bag
it
last minute.
pertains it pertains back to relationship. Now, I'm pretty sure you've seen that, women nowadays, they said majority of them want a dude to pay for everything. For someone like you that been in the game for so long, can you tell us, would you rather pay for everything or would you go 50-50 with your wife in this generation, and why?
Well, when I came up, I was always taught that if you're going to court a young lady, that's what they called it back then. Now we call it dating. Then it's your job as a man to pay for everything.
Mm-hmm.
So you do that because you're trying to get their attention.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what you got to do when you do that, how do they respond to you when you're doing that? Okay, is it a respect thing, or are they playing the field? See, they gonna tell you who they are. Maybe not on the first date, but if you all date long enough, she gonna tell you who she is. Okay, and when she tell you who she is, whether directly or indirectly, is that's how you make your decision because her mindset has to agree with yours.
Mm-hmm.
If you all are going in two different directions, it will never work.
Mm-hmm.
Never. So that's when you're dating, it ain't about, uh, man, let's get our groove on and all that other stuff, because that's really nothing. You all understand that you're gonna eventually spend more time out of the bedroom than you do in. So the what you the conversation that you have, the goals, if she go, does she want to set goals with you? Does she want to accomplish things with you? That's the stuff that you need to be paying attention to when you're dating. All that other stuff, you'll get to that, but it will never last if your mindset don't match.
Okay.
Like, you can take that to the bank.
Yeah, I'm gonna cash it out.
um, me and Paul had these conversations about women all the time. He always hear me complaining. Paul, I got one question. This is my last one. Then we're gonna hop into the conclusions. I promise y'all. This is my last one. So, if you had to make it, if you had to come up, well, if you had, let me get it out. I've been asking everyone that has joined the show so far this same question. What is the reason? I mean, why do you think I'm single as an individual? Your personal perspective.
Why do I think you're single?
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
that's
Your
why do
personal
I,
perspective.
well, I think since I we live together, I think you have your own personal goals that you want to set for yourself before you actually intertwine yourself with another person. That's what I think. That's what I believe. Um, and kind of like what you've seen, if it don't match the young lady's mindset, don't match yours, you're not gonna waste your time with her. Now you gonna play around with her because
Yeah, that's what he do.
I know you, so you gonna play around with her. Okay, so but be careful with that, because if you're not careful, you're gonna run into somebody that's just as good as you are, and it's gonna cost you something. So be careful.
That's true. That's true. Okay. So look, these are going to be our. So we're going to hop into the conclusions, man, because we are we are about to hit that time limit. So, Pops, would you like to redo your conclusions, or you want to move on to AJ, and we can come back to you? And how would y'all like to do that? Because you already stated your conclusion about 20 minutes ago. So
Right. So yeah, to go ahead and let it. I've done a lot of talking, so we need to let somebody else do some talking.
yeah, AJ, you haven't talked that much, man.
All right.
Hop into the conclusions, man.
Mm. Conclusions. So I'm so lost. I'm lost. I'm
Any
lost.
any last words, man? Any last words?
Ah,
Cause you don't never say nothing now. So the people been watching you, man.
nah. I
They've
think
been
this.
blowing my comments up about
Uh,
you, man. They
I
was like, "Boy, your
always.
co-host terrible, garbage."
Uh, I don't think they say that. Nah, this broadcast right here, it really, like I said, it opened so many different ideas and different perspectives that I can personally use in my life. And each time we on the broadcast, like I said, I just take it. I take every day as this is my last, and just go and apply the lessons I learned. And I'm like I said, I'm
So
grateful.
I got one more question. One more question, then we're gonna hop off. Then I'm gonna say my clues, then we're gonna get off. Did you see a different side of Jay Fish in this episode?
Me,
Yeah,
I
you.
did. I did. For the first time in 28 years, I
This man.
actually saw my brother being vulnerable. Can we get a hand clap, please? Wow. 28 years.
You full of it, man. You full of it.
28 years. I'm going to save this video. And on your day of your birthday, I'm going to replay it for your birthday. You being vulnerable,
Pops,
28 years. 28 years. That's how long I knew you. 28 years. Wow.
I ain't 28, so you ain't known me 28 years. You know yourself 28 years. Um, this so being vulnerable, I'm gonna say this, then I'm gonna hop into the clues. Being vulnerable is not about not being able to be vulnerable. It's more about being vulnerable in a space you feel safe and around people that you feel safe. Because if I ain't gonna lie to you now, I don't have some people, especially women, that try my life. So being vulnerable ain't something I really put out there like that. Everybody think I'm gonna chop their head off, so I'm gonna rock with that. I like that. So they don't be trying it. But hey, don't get it confused, man. I only talk like this with my pops and my brother, so don't get it confused. I will chop your head off. Uh, moving forward, man, we would love to have you back on the show, and man, thanks for your words of wisdom, and make sure you share and subscribe, and let everybody know, man, you did hop in the fishbowl with us, and I finally got some tint on the fishbowl now, so I am gonna show y'all what the fishbowl look like.
All right, sounds good. Now, I got one more thing to say. Word of advice for AJ here, because I did listen to your last episode. Listen, AJ, if you're going out on a date, do not listen. Now, I'm serious. Do not entertain another young lady through testing them if you're in a company with another young lady. That's not a good move, bro. And what you have to think about, if that shoe was reversed and it was her testing another dude, why she's with you, you ain't gonna like that. Okay, so if the date is not going well, at least give that person the respect of their time and their energy to be with you, because that says a lot that they're out with you. Now, after it's over with, text and do whatever you need to do because you're single or whatever like that, because you're still trying to find whatever. But don't do that. I actually ended a date because a person was texting another person. I ain't say nothing. I just said, okay, I'm gonna take you to the your car and have a good one, because this is not gonna work. So that's just a word of advice
I'm
tonight.
gonna apply that. Next day I go, I'll make sure that person have my full attention. But
He a hot
speaking
dog. He a hot
speaking
dog.
on that, we won't need a part two. But okay.
Yeah. But we definitely gonna get you back, man. I appreciate everybody on Fishbowl, man. Make sure you guys go support our sponsors, and we would like to see you guys tap in with us next week, man, as we are gonna be back in the Fishbowl with our special guests. And hey, man, we hope to see y'all, and make sure y'all subscribe and tell a friend about a friend. And this is the Fishbowl gang, and we're getting fishy, and we're out of here.
Club and the sweat litty. Lines at the bathroom, big drug dealing. Codeine got me in my feelings. Codeine got me in my feelings. I'm high now, gotta roll by the projects. Drop the pack, feed the hood, living lawless. Tax free, I'm that nigga living lawless. Hit Diego NASCAR, get my keys up. That's a plug, my amigo, that'll re-up. Switch the 20s for the 50s, 100K more. Switch the 50s for the 100s, that's the KO. Can't seem to find my face. They don't seem to know their place.
Yeah, what's up?
May he take my enemy.
We out of
Let
here.
it sing Amazing Grace.
So, came up out my city, blowed up, pussy won't smoke. Roll up, fucking on your bitch, throw it up. Drinking on the dirty soda. Promise I'ma never go sober. Niggas ain't nothing but some vultures. Percocet, Smiley, damn, baby, crush your eggs on your food, nanny. I done made love to an Ethiopian. I done